Under the bright lights of San Antonio, on a night humming with electricity, two fighters marched toward a collision that would echo through modern boxing lore. The crowd inside the arena roared like a living creature, a storm of flags, chants, and raw anticipation. They came to witness the coronation of a self-proclaimed prodigy, or the uprising of a relentless Argentinian brawler hardened by life and shaped by struggle. Adrien, the problem. Broner entered the ring draped in self-confidence, his shoulders loose, his expression smug, playing to the cameras as though the world was already his. He was the undefeated American rising star, a man who modeled his swagger after Mayweather, a technician with fast hands, sharp counters, and a talent for making opponents miss. But across the ring stood Marcos "El Chino" Maidana, the antithesis of flash and finesse. He was grit, he was pressure, he was power forged in the rugged gyms of Argentina, carrying the weight of every underdog who had ever fought for respect rather than spotlight. Maidana walked forward without dancing, without smiling, only a cold stare and the signature slow nod that told the world he was ready for war. As the referee brought them together, the tension was thick enough to cut. Two fighters, two styles, two destinies. When the bell rang, the arena didn't just hear it, it felt it. And in that instant, the night shifted from expectation to survival. From the moment the first round opened, Maidana came forward like a man possessed. No hesitation, no warming up, no respect for Broner's reputation. He launched a right hand that grazed Broner's chin, then another, and another, forcing the problem backward. Broner tried catching shots on his gloves, rolling the shoulder, keeping the guard tight. But Maidana's punches were pouring in from jagged, unpredictable angles. Every strike sounded like wood splitting. The Argentine brawler walked him down, chopping at the body, sweeping hooks over the top, forcing Broner to fight at a pace he never wanted. Broner answered with a sharp 1-2, a crisp uppercut that snapped Maidana's head. But El Chino didn't blink. He just kept coming. It was a round that set the tone, chaos versus calculation. But the chaos kept growing. By the second round, Maidana uncorked the shot that shifted the entire axis of the fight. A vicious left hook that sent Broner stumbling awkwardly across the canvas, his legs betraying him for the first time in his career. The crowd erupted. The cameras shook. Broner's eyes widened with a fear he couldn't hide. Maidana smelled blood and attacked in ruthless waves, pounding the body, smashing hooks into the guard, forcing Broner to hold, survive, pray for the bell. When that bell finally sounded, Broner walked to his corner dazed, blinking, stunned. The world had just seen something unimaginable. Adrienbroner hurt, Adrienbroner exposed, and Adrienbroner uncertain. As the fight moved into the middle rounds, a strange mixture of desperation and pride began to define Broner's movements. He stood on his back foot, flicking the jab, looking for counters, trying to regain control of a knight slipping through his fingers. His corner begged him to relax, to throw more, to stay sharp. But every time Broner seemed ready to reset, Maidana crashed into him again with a barrage of hooks and looping rights. The relentless pressure was suffocating. Maidana dug deep to the body, thudding lefts to the ribs, heavy rights under the elbow, investing in long-term punishment, knowing the dividends would come later. Broner tried to fire back with speed, landing clean counters, even snapping Maidana's head with quick uppercuts. But the Argentine simply refused to back off. The arena felt like a war zone, punches ricocheting off gloves, bodies colliding, the crowd rising and falling with every exchange. And then came the moment that defined the chaos. Maidana landed another brutal combination, a right-left that staggered Broner so badly he again crashed to the canvas, a second knockdown. The crowd exploded into madness. Broner was hurt, winded, scrambling to survive as Maidana swarmed him on the ropes. Every second felt like a minute, every punch felt like a hammer. Yet somehow, Broner endured. He held, he tied up, he staggered into space, and as the round closed, the drama only deepened. Broner complained to the referee, Maidana barked back, and the fight threatened to spill into pure fury. By rounds 7 and 8, the war had taken on a new rhythm. Broner, battered but unbroken, began showing flashes of the fighter people expected him to be. His hand speed re-emerged. He cracked Maidana with sharp right hands, slid away from pressure, even strutted for a moment as if trying to convince the crowd and himself that the fight had turned. But Maidana was built for nights like this. He wasn't discouraged when he missed. He wasn't shaken when he got caught. He simply marched forward with the same stubborn will that had defined his entire career. Every time Broner landed something clean, Maidana answered with something meaner. A chopping right, a thudding jab, a left hook that echoed across the arena. The fight grew ugly, intense, emotional. There were clinches, wrestling, moments where Maidana couldn't get his hands free, moments where Broner leaned in and tried to smother the chaos. The referee had his hands full. The crowd was howling at every foul, every clash, every shove. Broner found brief success with combinations, but Maidana's pressure never stopped. His body shots carved at Broner's stamina. His hooks rattled Broner's confidence. Even when he tired, his heart pushed him forward. The middle rounds were no longer technical boxing. They were survival. They were heart versus pride, pressure versus finesse, will versus talent. And as the bell rang to close the 8th, both men looked like they'd been through a war that still wasn't close to ending. As the fight entered the deep waters of the late rounds, the Alamo Dome reached a fever pitch. Every second was charged with danger. Maidana, though tired, still fought like a man chasing a dream. His punches slowed but didn't stop. His determination hardened rather than faded. Broner, meanwhile, wore the marks of battle across his face, swelling around the eyes, a grimace with every breath, but he fought with a resolve he rarely needed in past fights. He stood his ground more often now, planting his feet, firing combinations, digging for the one moment that could swing momentum. The exchanges became wilder. Maidana landed heavy lefts. Broner responded with crisp rights. Then Maidana surged again, ripping to the body, smashing upstairs, forcing Broner into the ropes, where he absorbed shot after shot. The seconds bled together. The crowd lived and died with every punch. Broner tried to tie up, tried to escape, but Maidana refused to let him rest. The Argentine's jab split Broner's guard. His hooks bent Broner sideways. His pressure smothered every attempt at a comeback. Yet still, Broner fought. Still, he fired. Still, he chased survival. It wasn't just a boxing match anymore. It was an examination of soul. Who would yield first? Who would break? Who wanted it more? Every round felt like both men were stealing pieces of one another, and the final minute of the 11th round tasted like copper, sweat, and desperation. When the 12th round began, both fighters touched gloves with a respect born from brutality. Broner knew he needed a miracle. Maidana knew he needed to close the show, and so they met in the center and traded with whatever was left. Maidana pressed forward again, ripping hooks to the body, pounding the ribs, forcing Broner backward. Broner countered with stiff jabs, quick rights, but Maidana walked through them, fueled by something primal, something unstoppable. Each second felt like the closing chapter of a story built on grit. The crowd was on its feet, roaring with every collision of leather. Broner tried to rally late, swinging combinations, but Maidana answered with a savage final surge. A left hook, a right hand, another body shot that echoed through the arena. When the final bell rang, the stadium erupted in a thunderstorm of noise. Both men raised their gloves, but only one truly believed he had done enough. Broner's swagger was gone, replaced by exhaustion and uncertainty. Maidana stood tall, battered but triumphant, knowing he had delivered the performance of his life. And then came the announcement, a unanimous decision, all three judges in favor, and the new welterweight champion of the world, Marcos El Chino Maidana. The arena exploded. The underdog had risen, the star had fallen, and the boxing world had just witnessed one of the greatest upsets and most savage fights of the era. In that moment, as Maidana roared in victory and Broner stumbled from the ring, the message was clear: problem solved,